There's two reasons it's important. The most important reason, I think, is that very few people are looking in November and December. Law firms still have needs at those times. So if you look in November and December, you're competing with very few people for the same jobs. Honestly, there's no better time to look for a job than November and December. A lot of firms, and most firms, have calendars, and they usually set them by the calendar year. Some law firms are January to December. That's the majority of law firms are from January to December. And so a law firm will have a budget for its recruiting budgets, for hiring, and they typically will have a certain amount of time to exhaust that. So a lot of times I notice in November, December, like just very quick hiring decisions are made. They'll even pay people's bonuses sometimes to hire if they're willing to start in November and December because they have the money. And if they don't use the money runs out. And a lot of times they're eager to use the money because if they don't use the money, not only does it run out, but they may get a lower budget for the next year. So that's one reason it's very important for them to hire in November and December. And I've seen firms be so eager to hire and so eager to get people in the door that they may actually, I saw one firm hire a second-year attorney without even getting a transcript. I saw another firm hire someone internationally after like a 20-minute Skype phone call. I've seen people receive offers during screening interviews without coming back to full round. So it's just much easier to get a job in November, December. And I think the rush a lot of times is due to the fact that they do have these hiring budgets they need to use. And so they're just very quick to use the money because if they don't use it, they're going to lose it and they'll get a lower budget the following year. A lot of times they may have positions that have been open for a long time, and so they don't really want to go into the next calendar year still having that position open, so they'll try to fill it right away. Another reason is recruiting administrators a lot of times are evaluated and given reviews based on their ability to hire people in a certain amount of time. And so if they have an opening that stayed open an entire year or into the next calendar year, it might have been open several months, that could come up in a performance review that they really needed this person hired and they weren't able to hire them. So they're also eager to get hiring done. And so because they're so eager, they may actually be more on your side when you're interviewing and pushing the firm to like you and say good things about you, steer you away from people that might review you negatively and that sort of thing. Well, the people inside of the law firms typically are just in a better mood. They're spending time with family, they're looking forward to getting out of town for Thanksgiving, Christmas holidays, or Hanukkah, and they're more focused on not being critical, and they tend to be in a better mood. One of the things I write about a lot is I notice when people interview on Fridays before people are leaving for the weekend, there's a much higher percentage of offers and so forth that happen when people interview on Fridays. And it's the same sort of psychology that goes into looking for a job in November and December. People are just less critical of you. People want to be nicer, and they're just more likely to do nice things in the spirit of the holidays. People tend to be less organized. They don't get a lot of time input from as many people when they're making a hiring decision. Sometimes there's snowstorms and different things that happen. Other people are out of the office and they don't ask as many questions. It's easier to get into a law firm when it's disorganized than when it's very organized. Because if it's very organized, all these people are going to kind of get together and find reasons potentially not to hire you. But if it's disorganized, people can kind of get in the door that may not normally be able to get in the door. A lot of times people are out of the office, so people are traveling for Thanksgiving, people are traveling for the Christmas holidays, and so they're noticing that work's piling up and things aren't getting done, so they become even more eager to hire. In November and December, law firms are typically doing performance reviews, or they're planning on doing them in January, and they know that there's going to be certain people that are going to be asked to leave, or that are going to get negative reviews that are going to make them want to leave. They also know that people are just going to start leaving after they get their bonuses. So they're eager to bring in people before all that happens because they know that there's still going to be work to be done. Right, there's just going to be less competition. You're not going to be competing with so many people, so they're actually going to see scarcity in the market. They're going to feel like there's not as many applicants for their jobs, and because there's not as many applicants, they better grab the people that are there. So you're more likely to stick out and look like a better candidate. It's important to be the first person seen for a job opening because people will typically bomb with the first people they meet. They have lots of people for a job opening and you're the first person that they see. They're more likely to like you and not want to interview other people than other people that may apply later. I think you should apply in November, December. I think you always want to make sure you get as many applicants out in November, December as you can. If you wait until January, in February, you're going to be applying with a lot of people that are going to be leaving after receiving their bonuses. And why would you want to compete with 10 times as many people for the same job when you compete with 10 times less people? you're much more likely to get a job.